Hey everyone, and welcome to the Explainer. Today we are pulling back the curtain on a piece of technology you've probably never even heard of, but one that has almost certainly kept you safe out on the road. It's the quiet, unsung hero that stops huge trucks from becoming runaway freight trains on steep hills.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever been driving and seen a massive 40-ton semi heading down a steep mountain pass and just wondered, how in the world does that thing stay in control? The answer isn't just bigger brakes. Oh no, it's way more clever than that. To really get why the solution is so brilliant, we first have to appreciate the sheer scale of the problem. So let's talk about the incredible forces at play when you're trying to slow down something that heavy on a big hill. I mean, just picture it. A truck like that is carrying a colossal amount of kinetic energy. Trying to rely only on the regular wheel brakes to get rid of all that forward motion, well, that's a recipe for absolute disaster. It's not just a bad idea, it's incredibly dangerous. Because all that energy has to go somewhere, and it turns into heat. And we're not talking about just a little bit of heat. We're talking about extreme, mind-boggling temperatures. During a long downhill run, brake parts can easily hit over 700 degrees Celsius. That's hotter than your oven on its self-cleaning cycle. And at temperatures like that, things start to fail badly. This is what leads to a terrifying situation called brake fade. You see, when the brake pads and drums get that hot, they literally stop working. The material just can't create friction anymore. The driver is stumping on the brake pedal, but the truck, it just keeps going. It's a total catastrophic failure of the system. So, if the wheel brakes are tapping out, what's the solution? This is where the engineers got really smart. Instead of trying to add some huge, complicated new braking system, they looked at something the truck already had, its own powerful engine. And here it is, the hero of our story, the exhaust brake. The idea is just beautiful in its simplicity. What if, instead of using the engine to create power and go forward, you could make it absorb power and slow down? That's exactly what this little valve does. It basically turns the engine into a giant energy-sucking air pump. And this is the absolute perfect way to picture it. Seriously, try to imagine blowing all the air out of your lungs, but only through one of those tiny little coffee stirrers. Feel that pressure, that resistance, that immense effort is exactly what the engine's pistons are feeling as they try to force exhaust gas through a blocked pipe. And all that effort is what's slowing the truck down. Okay, so that's the big idea. But how does it actually work? You know, nuts and bolts. Well, it's a really slick and surprisingly simple chain of events. It all kicks off when the driver flips a switch or sometimes just taps the brake pedal. The truck's computer, the ECU, gets that signal and immediately tells a little butterfly valve in the exhaust pipe to snap shut. All of a sudden, the exhaust gas has nowhere to go. This creates a huge amount of back pressure inside the engine. So now, the pistons, which are used to easily pushing that exhaust out, are fighting against this massive wall of pressure. They have to work incredibly hard just to finish their cycle. And that wasted effort, that energy they're burning just to push against the blockage, is called pumping loss. That's the magic. It literally robs the truck of its own momentum, slowing it down safely and effectively, all without the driver ever having to touch the service brakes. Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking. Wait a minute, is this that super loud brah-up sound that I hear from big rigs on the highway? That is a fantastic question, and it points to a really common and important bit of confusion. The loud sound you're thinking of is actually from a different device, famously called a jake brake. And the key difference is how they work. Our quiet hero, the exhaust brake, just blocks the flow of exhaust. Simple. A jake brake, on the other hand, is a compression release brake. It lets the piston compress air in the cylinder, then, right at the moment of peak pressure, it pops the exhaust valve open. That sudden release of highly compressed air is what makes that iconic and very loud machine gun sound. So, while a jake brake is much more powerful, our exhaust brake is way quieter and simpler, which is exactly why you see all those no jake brake signs in towns and cities. So, beyond the clever engineering, why does this simple, quiet system matter so much? Well, this is where it really earns its title as the unsung hero of our highways. The benefits are just huge. Number one, first and foremost, it prevents that terrifying brake fade we talked about. By doing most of the work on long downhill stretches, it keeps the main brakes cool and ready for an emergency. This, of course, also means they last way longer, saving a ton of money on maintenance. And it's not just for big trucks.
For vehicles like buses and RVs, it provides a much smoother, more controlled deceleration. That means more safety and comfort for everyone on board.
And that's really the bottom line here. The exhaust brake is a quiet workhorse. It's not flashy, it's not loud, but it's an absolutely essential piece of engineering. It's working away in diesel trucks, buses, and RVs all over the world, making our roads significantly safer every single day.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other simple, elegant solutions are all around us, quietly doing their job, keeping our incredibly complex world running smoothly without us ever even noticing? Thanks for joining us for this explainer.